Hello everyone. In this video, I will walk you through the management view of WIN, which is how you manage your organization. Currently, what you are seeing is the Explore view, which is how anyone visiting WIN browses through all of the options. From using Google Analytics, we know that the top two places people visit are the list of organizations and events. To see these two areas and all of the options, click on the menu option in the top left corner. On this left navigation menu, you'll see how to get back to home anytime, to events, the list of organizations, news posts, and forms. You'll see the list of organizations that you are a part of and or manage. And at the bottom, you'll see the list of campus links for easy access. If you click on one of your organizations, it will take you to the Explore view, which is how others view your organization. But to manage it, you'll click on the gear icon here. You don't have to open the menu in order to see that option. You can simply hover over it as well. From the gear icon, you see the list of management tools for your organization to quickly jump to. This Manage Home option won't do much for you unless we are in the re-registration period where you will see that option. This begins around May 1st and goes until October 31st each year. Let's start with About. This is where you can edit the basic details shown on your organization site. The description section is limited to 254 characters and is displayed on the organization's list before choosing which organization to view. Once you choose an organization, then you see the full description here. You can use the editing tool to design how you want your page to look, including links and the ability to embed a video. When embedding a YouTube video, be sure to grab it from the share button, not the full URL link. Next is the contact information section. This is where you will choose what users see for how to contact you as a club. What is most useful here is the email address, and be sure that this is updated. This can be a shared email account or a personal one. Just know that it is displayed publicly. For campus departments, you might add your building and main office number in the street address section. Since we all share one campus address, no one needs to put the full campus address here. The external website is useful if you have a website to direct people outside of WIN. If you use Discord, for example, you might add that here or in the description above. This displays on your organization page as an earth icon. Lastly, you may edit, add, or remove social media at any time in this bottom section. After making any edits in the About section, be sure to go to the bottom and click Update. After making edits, it may take up to a half hour to see the changes reflected. Okay, next we will move on to the roster. You'll see a primary contact listed here, who can be anyone on the roster. For clubs, by default, this is who submitted the registration or re-registration. The primary contact is used when users want to reach out to you from the contact option on the Explore page. For clubs, we also send regular newsletters, updates, and announcements, etc. to this person. To edit who receives these, click on the pencil icon and choose from the roster. If you wish for messages to go to another email besides your www address, you can change that in your personal settings. In the Manage Roster section, you can view and edit your current roster and manage positions for each person. This Pending tab shows you who have been sent invitations, and you can resend those if needed. Perspective is where clubs will see who has clicked join, and you can send them a message from here. Terms and conditions is used for clubs, and we've asked for you to tell us when you've completed the club training path. Under the Current tab, you'll see who is currently on your roster and what positions they hold. We use generic position names such as lead officer or office staff, and you can edit those above. I'll show you that soon. By using the pencil icon, you can edit which position each person holds. This information shows on your public roster, so you'll want to be accurate. Along the top here, you'll see a few options. The messaging tool allows you to choose who on your roster can receive a message you design in whatever email tool you'd like to use. It will create a link that you put into the To section of your email. You can also send text messages, but the folks you are sending to will need to turn on that feature in their account. The Manage Positions feature allows you to edit templates and create your own. For example, if I wanted to change the template name for AS student staff to Club Hub staff, I would just click on the name and make the change and hit save. To create a new one that makes sense for your organization, click that plus position button here. Name it what you want. Choose if it's a member or an officer, if it should be shown publicly on your roster, if they should also receive messages in addition to the primary contact when someone chooses to contact from the Explore view, and what access they should receive. For the position type, a member is by default not on the roster publicly, and an officer is. However, each person can choose their own setting from their account if they wish. For the access options, if you choose limited access, you can decide what access they have, which means what they'll see on the left side navigation from the gear icon. For example, if you have someone in charge of marketing, maybe they only have access to the events. Be sure to hit Create at the bottom. You can then assign people on your roster to that position you created. Invite people allows you to invite to your roster, and you'll need to use their Western email account to do this. When collecting emails at tabling events, it's good to ask for their Western account for this reason. You can collect them in an Excel spreadsheet and then copy and paste here. After putting in their email address and hitting Add Email Address, you'll then choose which position you want them to hold. If inviting a long list, you can just choose Member and then assign positions later, rather than inviting by different positions. Be sure to let people know they need to accept their invitation. Next, we will look at the Events section. This is where you will create new events to post on Win, as well as manage the events you've created. There is another video that walks you through how to submit and manage an event, so be sure to look for that. But I wanted to note here that events posted to Win are used on digital TV screens and on various websites. Posting your club meetings and special events on campus is a great way to get the word out to the student body. You can use your event posting to take in pre- and post-event information as well as take attendance. This section should be one of the most important management tools you'll use. Next up is News. This feature is a great tool to post any announcements or updates you have. You can post publicly to just the Western community, or even just to folks on your roster. Clubs often use this for newsletter, and campus offices like this for posting job openings in their area. Next, we have the Gallery feature. This is where you can upload photos and videos that will show on your Explore view page. For the Club Activities page, I've made our current staff photo the cover photo, so we'll always display that one. By not choosing a cover photo, it will choose 4 at once and rotate anytime someone visits or you refresh the page. The next feature is Documents. For clubs, this is where your constitution will be stored, as well as any previous year's constitutions. Constitutions by default are made public and all will be shown. You can choose to remove old files, but be sure to store them somewhere else and shared with others so that you have a record of them. Other documents that are handy to keep here are any meeting minutes and legacy documents. Many clubs choose to keep a Google file system or other products such as Slack or Teams. However, this can be tricky if these are not passed down to future leaders appropriately. The Club Hub and ESC does not have a way to retrieve those for you, so keeping records in Win is really your best option. With all things in your Win management, you can choose to make documents public just for Western users to view or just for your roster to view. For campus offices, you might choose to store instructional documents, event flyers, etc. to help students view things you'd like them to see or use. As you can see here, you can also create folders for easier management. Next is Forms. Forms can be really handy for things like survey and interest collection. In a form, you can add links and videos, as well as use the logic feature. Forms are composed of one or more pages, and logic allows you to say if a question on this page is answered this way, this page will show, and if it's answered this other way, this other page will show. Let's start with the basic creation of a form. To create a new one, click on these 3 dots and choose Create Form. You'll start with the basic properties, including the name of your form. The form starts with being disabled, which will allow you to create and edit a form before you are ready to publish it. You can set the range from when you want it active until when you want it closed. You do still have to toggle this disabled button so that it is enabled when you are ready. Here it asks if you want it in the Explore Forms list. This means users can also go to the Forms section to see it. Otherwise, it will only be available on your site to view, which is typically okay for most of you. If you choose this feature, it will be pinned to the top of the list. We ask that you do not use the feature option until asking the Club Hub. We keep these for important forms such as scholarships and grant funding requests. The next few options are about approval processes. If you want your forms to just be submitted and don't need to be reviewed and then approved, keep this as disabled. If you want someone to approve them, turn this on. If enabled, after setting up the form, you'll want to assign reviewers, and I'll show you that in a bit. If you are using reviewers, you can also set up multiple steps so that when it is submitted, level 1 reviewers will review, then level 2 reviewers will receive a prompt to review, and so on. If you want your form open for public submissions, you can turn this on. This just means you don't have to be signed into WIN to fill it out. If public, you can ask that they submit their name and email address with this option. Otherwise, if someone is signed in, and you don't turn this on, it will automatically capture the submitter's name and email. This means you don't have to collect that in the form as a question. Allowing for multiple submissions is nice if you think someone will fill out your form more than once, but of course depends on your circumstance. The Submitter Identified Reviewers option allows you to indicate who should review the form beyond who has admin access. You should provide instructions here, and the submitter must enter an email address of who should review the form before you approve it. Once everything is filled out, go back to the top and hit Save. This will then create 3 more tabs to continue setting up your form. The Reviewers tab is where you'll select your reviewers, which is any member on your roster, and choose which level of reviewing they should have, if you've set this up. Note that voting reviewers will give a thumbs up or down and can submit comments, while non-voting reviewers can only review and make comments. Only the organization admin with access to forms can make the final approval. The Outline tab provides an outline view of your form once questions are created. It is simply a snapshot of your questions by page. Edit Questions tab is where you'll create and later edit your form questions. You can create separate pages to divide content rather than having one page with several questions if your form is lengthy. Up top, you can get back to the form's property page, which is where we started. The Edit Questions tab is where you'll create and later edit your form questions, such as what we would do here in an already created form. You can create separate pages to divide content rather than having one page with several questions if your form is lengthy. Remember that you do not need to ask for the submitter's name and email address. That will be collected for you. You can add a page before or after each page once the first one is created. You can see the page list, so you can jump between pages quickly for editing. Page Properties allows you to make edits to that page, such as naming it and managing logic using the Conditions tab. I do recommend naming pages as it gives you a nice heading and helps you manage a form with multiple pages. When creating questions, you can see multiple options here at the bottom. The italicized wording on each gives you a good description of each question type. After creating a question with the basics, you can then go back and make more choices, such as if it should be required, and validation options, which means the submitter must use a specific format for the answer to take. I recommend opening and closing your form with an instructions page if it makes sense for what you are doing. The opening would give details of how to complete the form, and the closing page would include details when they might hear back about their submission, who to contact with questions, or other steps. It is also very easy for someone to think they've submitted the form but never actually hit submit, so I like to remind them of that. Once your form is out there collecting submissions, you can come back to the forms list and see quickly how many submissions you have. By clicking the 3 dots to the right, you can also quickly get to the Edit tab, archive the form if you are done collecting submissions, copy the form if you are doing the same thing again, share the form, view submissions, and export the submissions quickly. When a form is archived, all the data remains and you can always restore it. If you want to copy an old form, you'll need to restore it, then copy, then archive again. To see archived forms, toggle this option here. For sharing a form, you have the option to share the link by pressing copy and pasting somewhere else. You can also grab the QR code to use on a website, social media post, poster, and so on. Note that this is the only way to share a form. If you try and share a form from somewhere else, the person trying to open it will get an error because it is tied to your personal account. Last but not least is elections. This is not a popular feature, but can certainly be handy for clubs to use. You can set up officer elections, and you can use this tool for running polls as well. Setting up an election or poll is similar to forms. You'll name the election, provide instructions if needed, check the box to make it active, Choose the start and end dates, and decide if an alert should be displayed and if only those on your roster will vote, or anyone. Then you'll create ballots within the election, such as officers or voting on measures. For each ballot, you can determine who is voting, and you'll reach out to the Club Hub for help with this if you need specific eligibility lists created. The ballot is then created using basic form options. You'll see the results here in publishing options, including the link to share out as needed. Clicking publish on the elections list will also take you to that publishing options tab. Okay, well that is all we need to share about managing an organization in WIN. If you have any questions, the Club Hub staff is here to help with any needs that you have. We have general knowledge about how to manage an organization in WIN and can answer any questions you have. Thank you.